Hi, this is Kathy Quinn with Floriani. We are a division of R&K Distributing, and I want to welcome you to this month's project of the month. We're going to do the garden tags. And I want you to put your cursor on your Floriani Total Control Professional icon and double left mouse click. This will open our software program. Now, as our program opens, of course, the first thing that always comes up is our Floriani Today page. Now, you'll notice here on the right that you have 5 designs. Every month we give you 5 new designs as our gift to you for being continuing to be a loyal Floriani software user. We are going to create a new design today. So I want you to come down to the bottom left-hand corner, and I want you to left mouse click on Create a New Design. This will bring up our design screen. Now the first thing I want to look at is, am I in inches or am I in metric? Now where you're going to find that is right here in the upper right-hand corner, and in the lower left-hand corner you can see my screen says inches. Now if your screen says metric, what you're going to do is put your cursor anywhere along our ruler bar, and you can see this ruler bar goes along the top and it also goes down the left hand side. We can right mouse click anywhere on this ruler bar for hidden treasure, and we can change between metric and inches that easily. So we want to be in inches today. The next thing I want to do is I want to change my grid system, and I want to put it in 1-inch increments for today. So again, I'm going to right mouse click on my ruler bar, and I'm going to go to the words Grid Settings, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make sure I change this now to 1 inch. Now notice I do not have my Maintain Aspect Ratio box selected, so it only changed the horizontal, so I would also have to change my vertical. I want them both to say 1 inch. Now if you had come in here and gone to Grid Settings and we put a check mark in the Maintain Aspect Ratio, I would have only had to change one and the other would change proportionately. Whichever method you use, make sure you click on OK. So now I know that each of these squares is 1 inch by 1 inch. Now we're going to do a lot of little things today, but go over some things to increase our skills in manipulating designs. Now up at the top here we have a text designs box. Now right here, it looks like a book with a T on it, and these are text designs. These are designs used to enhance any text we've got. Now in here we've got some alphabets, and if you open this and the first thing that comes up is not your Angel alphabet, it means that you did not install your support files off your original disk when you installed your program. When you put in your Floriani Total Control Professional software disk, the first option you had was to install the program. The next option was to install the support files. If the Angel alphabet is not there, you did not install your support files, so you need to put your disk back in and install your support files. We're going to go ahead and scroll down, and I'm going to scroll down. We're going to go through some alphabets. There's a lot of fun stuff in here, but we're going to come down until we get to CH89464. It's a little text design that has a ladybug, a bee, and a butterfly. I'm going to left mouse click on that, and I'm going to say OK, and these are going to show up on my screen. Now I want you to notice something. In my sequence view, which is at the bottom right hand corner of our screen, I want you to notice that these all came up in Madeira Rayon. The reason that is when all of these text designs were created, whoever had the thread palette up, created them in Madeira Rayon, and it has never been changed. Well, I like that because it lets me show you a real cool function of our software. Now, these all say Madeira Rayon, so I'm going to show you how to I'm going to use the word trick. I don't know that that's the right word, but since they come up in Madeira Rayon and these are created in our native format, which is C2S, that is the native format that everything's created in this software. Now this is a working file. It is not a stitch file. C2S will not come up on any sewing machine. It's a working format. It's pure information. Then we save it to our machine's format and it saves it as a stitch file or a design file. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to come up to, first I'm going to go to my library. I'm going to go to my library, and in your library, this is down here below your sequence view, you have a library tab. So you'll notice there's a tab that says library and there's a tab that says sequence. I can flip between my sequence view and my library. I'm going to click on library and we're going to create a design today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder to hold all the stuff I'm working with today in my library. So I'm going to put my cursor and right mouse click. Now it says, what do I want to do? I want to make a new folder. And I'm going to call this folder Project of the Month Garden Tag. So I have created a folder. Now I'm going to click on that and there's nothing in here because I haven't saved anything into that folder. Now that I have created a folder to put these designs into, I'm going to come up to File. I'm going to go to Save As, and I'm going to name this Bugs. Okay, I'm just going to call it Bugs. Now, where is this going to go? I'm going to go into my local disk C. Now, yours may open up in the right place. I've been playing around in the computer today. Floriani Designs. Now, if I look in here, these folders here are the same folders that are in my design library. So I'm going to go to POM Garden Tags. So I'm going to select that folder so you can see this is the folder that I want to save my design to. I've named it Bugs, and I'm going to save it into my machine format. Right now I'm just going to save this into PES version 5. That is a Brother Baby Lock format, and do not worry if you have a different machine. I'm just showing you how to kind of work the program a little bit here. So now I'm going to save this Bugs design into this folder. So when I save it, I'm going to come back and look, it has been saved in this folder. Now what I'm going to do is let's go up to the top upper left hand corner and get a new piece of paper. I want a new design screen, so I'm going to left mouse click on it. Now let's go up and look at our Tools menu for a moment. This is Tools. And I'm going to left mouse click on it, and I'm going to go down to the bottom option, which is General Options. And I want you to notice it says Default Thread Chart. Now I have picked Floriani because I assume everybody wants to stitch with beautiful Floriani thread. However, you can pick what your favorite thread is. So you notice we have all the threads listed here. You might use Isacord. You might use Robinson Anton. But I use Floriani, so I'm going to stay with Floriani. And notice we've got our Floriani cotton, our metallic, our premium. We have all of our Floriani threads listed in here. Now there's a little checkbox here that says Auto Match Thread Colors on Loading. So I'm going to say OK. Now notice I saved this designs as Bugs, and it even shows me that I saved it in the PES format. If I had saved this in VIP or EXP or any of your other formats, it would show me in here. Now I am going to simply click on this design, and I'm going to hold down my left mouse key and drag it onto screen. This is the joy of having your design library. You look at the design you want to use, So if I went into my Precious Moments designs, come in here and I pick the Precious Moments designs, you see I could just find the design I want and I could just literally drag it onto screen. So I'm going to go back right now because I want to stay in my garden tags folder. But I want to show you something. Now I have dragged them onto screen and I dragged the PES file. Let's go back to our sequence view. Now notice, now all my colors are Floriani. What this program does is it will match it to the closest match in your thread chart, your selected one. So these were in Madeira Rayon. Look, if I go back to design 1, these are all in Madeira Rayon colors. Now I save them as a design file, PES, you could have picked another format. And when I drug them back in, it matched those Madeira colors to the closest match in Floriani. So that is a real fun feature of this program. Now we're going to come in here, and when we drag anything out of the library onto screen, it comes in as a group. The program has like melded it, welded it all together. So I want to use these bugs individually. So I'm going to come up to my toolbar, my top toolbar, the second one, and you're going to see two icons here. One is group and one is ungroup. So if I hover my cursor, you can see the ungroup is available. So I'm telling it I want to ungroup this design. So now when I click on it, it doesn't grab everything together. Now what I really want to do here is I want to take the butterfly and save it as a design. I'm going to save the bee and I'm going to save the ladybug. Now in order to get all the butterfly, I could click on it and hold my control key and keep clicking till I got it all, but that would take a long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my left-hand toolbar and I'm going to grab my second tool, which is my Lasso Tool. So I'm going to left mouse click on it and notice it's stuck to my cursor. And I'm just going to do a series of left mouse clicks, dragging my mouse until I draw around the butterfly. I'm going to right mouse click and it has selected it. So now what I'm going to do is right mouse click on it, copy, open a new piece of paper, upper left hand corner, right mouse click and paste. So now I have a brand new design that I'm going to call butterfly. Now with it selected, I'm going to come back up to this group and ungroup. I want to group this butterfly together. The reason is I put it in other designs and move it around. I want to grab the whole butterfly, not just pieces. So watch, if I click on it now, I'm clicking on pieces. So that's not any fun. I don't want pieces. But if I come and I get it all together, and I come up to my group, left mouse click, now when I click on it, it grabs it all at once. So that helps us a lot when we are messing with it, moving things around. Now notice my sequence view. You'll see that it shows each series of stitches, but since they're grouped, even if I click on one, I'm going to get everything. Well, this can be a little disconcerting to look at all of this all the time. So what I'm going to do is click the minus sign. Now I also can right mouse click in here and say collapse all. And you notice all the colors just collapsed. See if I plus, there's all the stitches that are under the yellow. If I click plus, here's all the stitches that are under the pale pink. And so forth. So you can see as we come up and down how this does. Now with this here, I'm going to say File, Save As. Now I'm going to save this as Butterfly. It's still in my POM Garden Tags folder, and I'm going to go ahead and save it in the C2S format, the working format. It will save it in my Floriani colors. So let's save. Now let's go back, and I want to do the same thing to the bee. So get your lasso tool, lasso your bee, right mouse click to highlight it, right mouse click again to copy, open a new piece of paper, right mouse click and paste. It comes in selected. Let's group it. Now I'm going to File, Save As, and this is going to be my B. Again, I'm going to stay with the C2S file, Save. Let's go back to Design 2, and I love how we can go back and forth between the tabs at the bottom of our screen. Let's get our lasso tool one more time. Let's come in here and let's lasso our ladybug. Right mouse click, and it has now selected it all. Right mouse click on it, copy, open a new piece of paper, right mouse click and paste. Group it, come up to the top and group it. Now we're going to File, Save As, Ladybug. Okay, now what I have just done is I have taken one design and I have taken elements out of it. Now obviously this was easy because the elements were all very separate from each other. But you know what? If you want a rose out of a rose bush, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to select it with your lasso tool, you'll copy it and paste it, and you've got a new design. So we had an original design here that had 3 insects. I guess that sounds better than bugs. That had 3 insects in it. But out of those 3 insects, I've created a butterfly design, a bee design, and a ladybug design. Now let's go to our library. Now look, in our POM Garden Tags folder, I've got my original design with the 3 of them, and now I have taken them apart. So now let's get started and make our garden tags. So again, I'm going to get a new piece of paper. Now what I'm going to create here is we are going to do some garden tags, and we're going to use Floriani Stitch and Shape, and we're going to stitch on them so we can put tags in our garden or in our house inside our planters for a nice decorative look. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go to my artwork tool. Now those of you that have followed my projects of the month know how much I love this tool. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to left mouse click on the down arrow. I'm going to select the rectangle and I'm going to hold down my left mouse key and just create a rectangle on screen. I'm not worried about the size at this point. I'm going to let go of my left mouse key, and as you can see, I now have a rectangle here. I am going to select it, and now I'm going to come over here to my properties box. Let me put my little library back down. I'm going to come to my properties box, and you're going to notice it's always here above your sequence view or your library is your properties box, and it always lets you know what's going on. So right now it tells me, Kathy, you've created a piece of artwork. Now what I want to do with this artwork, and I have it selected, you can tell it's selected because it's got its selection handles around it. I am going to click on my transform icon in my properties box. So I'm going to left mouse click, and it's going to ask me, what size do you want to transform this to? Now I do not want to maintain the aspect ratio. I want to tell it the height and width that I want to choose. So I'm going to deselect this, and I'm going to tell it I want you to be 3 inches wide and 5 inches tall. So this is a 3 by 5 rectangle. So remember, now we have to apply. Now let's come up here to our zoom or view here, and it's at 200%. I'm going to drop down the box and say fit to screen. So now I can see my 3 by 5 rectangle. Now depending on how large your hoop is how many of these tags you can create at once. Right now we're going to create 3. We're going to assume everybody has a large enough hoop to put 3 in. If you only have a 5 by 7 frame, That's okay. You can just save each one individually and stitch them out individually. But I'm going to come over here to my hoop icon on my left-hand toolbar. Now you're going to see it's right over here. It's the second one from the bottom, and it looks like a little hoop. We're going to left mouse click on it. I'm going to select my Baby Lock Brother 300 by 200 hoop. I'm going to apply. Now, before I click on this, if your hoop was not listed, your hoop size, because I actually have a 360 by 200 on my multi-needle machine, I could say new and I could create that size hoop and name it. We're just going to go with the 200 by 300 for today's exercise. I'm going to apply, and I want the 300 by 200. I'm sorry, I want the one that goes long ways. Okay, so now I can see my hoop frame. So I'm going to go ahead and move this over. And what I want to do is, this is just artwork right now, so it's not anything but a visual. I want to change this, so I'm going to right mouse click on it, and I'm going to convert this to an applique. So now I have just created an applique. It's going to have a tack down line, a placement line, and it's going to finish with a satin stitch. Now I want it to finish with a satin stitch that's 4.5. I want a wider satin stitch, so I like that. I'm going to apply. Now the fun thing about Floriani's applique is you have a lot of options. I could pick a blanket stitch, I could pick a motif stitch, any of these decorative stitches. I could pick a pretty symbol stitch if I wanted to. And if I wanted to see what those symbols were, I would select the etc. button, that's what I call it, the three little dots, and I could see pictures, and I could actually have one of these symbols stitch around the edge. But what we're doing is, since we are stitching this on a water soluble, we want a nice satin stitch edge on this. Now that I have this done here, and I'm going to come over here, and you see that I've got my library selected right now. I'm going to go over to the sequence view just for a moment. So let's go back to our sequence view. It's right here. Now what I have here, if I click my little plus, it says I have an applique. Now if I go up to the top and I select my redraw, you're going to see it's going to put a placement line, a tack down line, and then it's going to go ahead and finish. But you also notice it's all in the same color. So on some of your machines it will not stop. And I want to separate the placement line, the tack down line, and the finish line. So what I will do is I will select this. I will right mouse click, and I'm going to tell it break up the path. Now the minute I break up the path, look what happened in my sequence view. Here's my placement, here's my tack down, and there is my applique finish. So it's given me, it's now taken this apart for me. Of course they're all still the same color. So what I'm going to do is, for my tack down, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change the color. I'm going to select it. I'm going to put my cursor on color number 2 and right mouse click. Then I'm going to come down to my placement line and select it. Now this isn't my applique. I want to select, I've got my tack down. Here's my placement line right here. I'm not clicking on my applique. I'm clicking on the next run stitch. I'm going to go ahead and go to color 3 and right mouse click. So I just want you to see what we've done. We've now got a placement, a tack down, and our finish. So now let's look at our slow redraw, and here you go. There's our placement line. Stop. Place your fabric down. Here is our tack down, and here is our finish. So now we have created a placement, a tack down, and a finish. So let's select, using our sequence view, let's left mouse click on all items. So now it's selected everything. We are going to right mouse click, copy, and I want to right mouse click and paste. Now it's pasted right on top of itself, so I'm going to move this over. Just drag it over. So now I have two garden tags. Right mouse click. We're going to do the same thing. Whoops. Right mouse click, copy. Right mouse click, paste. And I'm going to drag this one over. Now again, according to how big your hoop is how many tags you can do at once. So now you will see in our sequence view, and I'm going to pull it up big so you can see it. It's just going to go in order every time. So you can see what we're doing. So you can see as I select them. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tell this to edit and resequence by color. See, what I want this to do is I want all the placement lines to stitch out first. Then I'll place my fabric down. Then I want all the tack downs to tack down that fabric. Then I want it to finish. So I'm going to resequence by color. Now notice what happens. Here's what we're going to do. Placement line, placement. Now there's our placements. So we're going to put our fabric in. Now it's going to tack them down. Then it's going to go ahead and finish and do our satin stitch. So now we have our 3 garden tag blanks. So let's now create our garden tags. I'm going to move my sequence view back down so you can see it here. And I'm going to... Okay, what we're going to do now is now that we have moved our sequence view back down, we're going to go ahead and left mouse click on our library tab. Now let's start bringing in some of our insects. So let's go ahead and bring in one of our little bees. Now that I've got my bee on here, I'm going to right mouse click on it and I'm going to duplicate it. Now duplicate is a real fun feature. When I click on duplicate, if I hold down my left mouse key and drag and move my cursor, I can rotate my bee, resize my bee as many times as I want to. So here's a bee, and then I might put a third bee in here. So now I've got 3 little bees. I'm going to come up to my top tool on my left-hand toolbar, which is my select tool. So let's click on the select tool and let's select a bee. Now I can rotate my little bee. I can move my bee. Now you see why we went ahead and we grouped these is so that they would be easy to work with when we got to this point. So now I'm going to bring this guy down. Might grab this guy, move him a little bit. Let's just have some fun with our bees here. Now that I have my bees in, I want to put some lettering in here. So we're going to look at different ways to do lettering today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and grab my text tool. Now with my text tool, I'm going to come and left mouse click. Notice there's an A stuck to my cursor. Now my text tool was the giant T. I'm going to left mouse click and you can see an A shows up. Now I'm going to come and change the color. Well, I'm going to wait to change the color right now. I'm going to come in here and over in my text box, it's this little box right here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in well, for some reason my mind just went blank. I'm going to type in tomatoes. No, I'm not. I'm going to type in lavender. I'm going to type in lavender for this one. My mind just absolutely went blank for a minute. And I'm going to change the height, and I'm just going to change it to 0.4 inches right now, so it's not quite half an inch tall. I've got Gesture Pro selected. You can drop down the menu and select the text you want. We're going to select Gesture Pro for this. And I'm going to apply. Now this has come in, it's come in with all of its control points. So I'm going to zoom in we're going to come to our left-hand toolbar. We're going to go down to our magnifying glass. That's our zoom tool. And I'm just going to kind of draw a box around it so I can kind of see this a little better. Now with it saying lavender, I'm going to now come into my properties box over here now that I can see everything. And do you see where it says the type is normal? I'm going to drop this down and say I want it to be path. And I must apply. So now it shows me the path this is going on. Now I want to change this path. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to hit my minus so I can kind of zoom out here because I want to see where this is in here. And now that I've done that, I'm going to push the escape button on my keyboard to let go of the zoom tool. Now I'm going to make sure I put my cursor on the line. Notice it changes from a cursor with an A on it to like a hand. Right mouse click, and I'm going to tell it to let me edit the baseline. So what this is going to let me do is it's going to let me change how this baseline looks. So you can see here I'm moving this around by these blue by the boxes, and I can come in here and I can change the way this baseline lays down. So I can put it however I want it to go around with my bees. Now it has a Bezier curve in it. That's this little, you see you get a little curve that has these two little boxes on it, and it helps you change the curve however you want to change it. So we're just going to come in here and play with this until I get it where I want it. And when I like the line, I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to right mouse click. Come here. And it's going to follow the line. And so you can see where it's followed the line. Well, now it's backwards because of the way I had done the line. So let's go back in here, and I'm just showing you so you can continue to play with it. Right mouse click. Let's go ahead and edit the baseline. And this is the side I want down, and this is the side I want up. And we're kind of playing with this because I want you to really get comfortable with all the functionality you have with our lettering. Now right mouse click, and notice it's followed the line. So I can come in here and I can say, you know what, I need this to come, I want it to be bigger and go farther along the line. I could move this line over a little bit. I could make it taller and longer. Just play with these. These are the two little arrows here. We've got these two little arrows here. Now these will just change how wide it is without changing the height. If I use the one at the top, I can change the height and width proportionately. So you can have some fun playing with these control points. Also, you have some blue little arrows in between. That will change the spacing in between the individual letters. And sometimes when you're moving letters along a baseline, you might want to change something because you might have a letter like an I next to a T or a V next to an A where it would look a little better if you could change the spacing. So I have changed this lavender, and you know what? It's on this little bee. So I've got some choices here. I can come in here and I could grab the bee, move him a little bit, or I could have moved the lettering. So this says lavender. I'm going to leave that one as it is. Now let's go to our next one. Let's come down and let's grab our ladybug. So I'm going to bring my ladybug in here, and I'm going to rotate this ladybug. And I'm going to place it here, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to just left mouse click and left mouse click. I didn't want to change the size. I want them all the same size. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to line up these ladybugs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this ladybug holding my control key. I'm going to grab all three of them. Now I'm going to tell it to do my vertical centers. I want to align the horizontal centers. No, the vertical centers. I'm sorry. I want to align the vertical centers. Nope, it was the horizontal. Sorry. Undo is my best friend. Okay, there we go. I wanted to align the horizontal centers so that those are lined up perfectly. Now again, I'm going to grab my T for text and I'm going to click on here and I'm going to type in tomatoes. Now again, when I come in here, I'm going to again tell it that I want it to not be normal. I want it to go on a path, and I'm going to apply. Now it's too big, so I'm going to make this 0.5. I'm going to make it about 1/2 inch. Apply. Now again, we're just going to fit to screen. See where we are. There's our tomatoes. Now again, I can edit this baseline. So we're going to right mouse click. I'm going to tell it to edit the baseline. And I'm going to come in here and I want these tomatoes. I'm going to come get this. And I might want to straighten that up some more. I think I want this really straight. So I'm going to edit the baseline. And the nice thing is I've got these wonderful grid lines. And I'm just going to make this follow that grid line. Right mouse click to make it jump on the line. And my problem, there we go. And I'm going to come here. Now this would make it taller proportionately, height and width. Or I could just move it along the line, make it longer without making it taller. So remember with these little things and play with them so you get comfortable with them. So I've got tomatoes here, and I might want to select this and scoot it over some. Now I can use my arrow keys. Holding down my control key, I can use my arrow keys to kind of move these things over. And again, I might select all my ladybugs. Hold down your control key and use your arrow keys to kind of move these over. So we can just have some fun with that. Now let's go get our butterfly. Let's bring it in. And I'm going to, again, right mouse click and duplicate. And I'm going to hold down my left mouse key and give myself another butterfly. Let's select our butterfly. Maybe I want to fly them different directions. I mean, you can do whatever you want. That's the fun of this Floriani software. You have so much ability. Now, I'm going to do two different things with the lettering in this one. The first thing I'm going to do, and I'm probably going to add this to everything. I'm going to come to text. I'm going to left mouse click, and I'm going to type in Quinn Seed, and I'm going to put incorporated. And I want to change that to be about 1/4 inch tall. Now what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the Arial Central Run. Now this is a little bitty run stitch that can actually stitch out legibly at 3 millimeters tall, less than about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to, and notice if I put my cursor over here, it lets me know every character that will stitch out within that alphabet. Now I'm going to apply that, and I will go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Go ahead and get your zoom tool. And I'm going to come in here, select this, and I'm going to place this at the top. So now I've got Quinn Seeds Incorporated. Now I could copy and paste that into all three of these. I'll put that on the top of every one of my little garden tags. Now I also want to put in my last lettering here, and I'm going to show you another way we can do lettering in Floriani. I can create my own baseline. So I can come in here and I can pick my pen. And I'm going to come in here and left mouse click, hold down my control key if I want some curves. And I could come in here and I could right mouse click, and that becomes a line. Now I'm going to go over here to my text tool, left mouse click. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to type in corn this time. And I'm going to go ahead and pick my Jester Pro. I could pick another alphabet if I wanted to. I can pick any alphabet I like. Just make sure that it will look good smaller, because this isn't going to be able to stitch real large. Ribbon Love stitches nice small. Jester Pro stitches nice small. So I'm going to go ahead and do this at 0.5. Again, I'm going to say path, and I'm going to apply. Now this time I've got this selected. I'm going to hold down my control key, and I'm also going to select, whoops, of course, let's select that. Let's delete it. I've got corn selected. Hold down your control key and select the line. Right mouse click and tell this to go text on path. Now that text is going to go along the path I drew. So you can create a very elaborate path and have your text go along it. Now let me show you a little trick I learned. What if I wanted this corn to move up into the middle somewhere? I'm going to click right in front of the word corn and hit my space bar and apply. Now you notice my kerning icon. See how I can move the space between two letters? Well, I've put one between the empty space and the first letter. So now I can slide this along the path anywhere I want it. Now, of course, I could make it larger. Remember, don't forget all your little icons that you can use. I could make this bigger this way. I could come in here and make it bigger proportionately, height and width. I could come back and say slide back down some. So you can have a lot of fun with this and with lettering, and you can do so much. So we've learned how to do just plain lettering, picking a baseline from here and letting it run. We've learned how to take our artwork tool and create a path and have our letter following it by telling the text to go along the path. We have taken lettering and we have edited the baseline. Again, we've picked over here, you've always picked path. So we've played a lot with lettering. We've taken some designs apart. Now the next thing we want to do is work with our colors. Now the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go back to my sequence view right now, and we're going to right mouse click in here and tell this to collapse everything. I want to see the colors I'm working with. Now I will tell you these your insects and your lettering are all here. See, if you look, whoops, I'm sorry. If you look here, we've got, this is all grouped. We had these all grouped. Remember, we grouped all the insects. So anytime I select one, it selects the entire group. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to select all items, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to ungroup. So I've ungrouped everything. So now if I select anything, I'm going to get individual pieces again. And that's what I want. I want all the individual pieces. So there we go. So what I want to do now is I'm going to edit. I'm sorry, I'm not going to edit. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change the colors to what I want them to be. Now we can find everything in here by looking in this wonderful sequence view. So for instance, there is the text. There is text. So what I want to do here is I want to take my quin seeds. I like it in the black, but the corn, I may not want corn in black. I think I want corn in the same yellow. So I'm going to come to color number 10 and right mouse click. So now my corn is yellow. Now I'm also, and undo as your friend because I scooted that, I also want to take this applique outline and I'm going to change it to yellow as well. So now this seed package, well, you know what? I may not like the corn in that. So again, you can change it to anything you want. Now let's go in here where our tomatoes are. I'm going to select my tomatoes and I want them in color number 11. So I've now made those red. I'm going to grab the applique outline. I want it in red. And I'm going to come over here and pick lavender. Now these colors, all of the insects are done in black, red, and yellow. The blue, the red, and the green we used earlier, remember, for our stitches up here, our tack down. So I'm going to take this lavender and I'm going to come over here at the bottom, and you're going to see at the bottom right hand of your screen, you're going to see a plus. I'm going to click on that plus to add a color, color number 13. Now I'm going to left mouse click on this and it's going to bring up my color chart. I want a purple or a lavender for that lavender. So I like this 624 Afterglow. I'm going to say, whoops, 624 Afterglow. I'm going to say OK. And you notice that has changed to that. So with my lavender selected, I'm going to right mouse click. So now I have changed the word lavender to lavender. So I've got my tags ready here. Now the only thing, there's a couple other things we want to do really quickly. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the bottom here, and you see right next to that plus sign there's a minus sign. I'm going to click on the minus and it's going to remove every color on my toolbar that is not used in the design. So let's minus. So we have the yellow that's used. The yellow that's used in here. Here's the wings of our little bee, which is this pale pink. Then we have our graphite, our black, our dark gray, and then we have our lavender. Now this 1, 2, and 3 are the colors I used in here. Now I'm going to select the applique on the blue, and I'm going to change this because I want it to be the graphite to go with the bees. So now I've changed all that. Now what I've got here is I have our run stitches, which are in red number 1. I'm going to change that to number 4. Just right mouse click on it. What I'm trying to do is get it down to the smallest number of colors. Of course, if you're on a machine, if you're on a flatbed machine, not a multi-needle, you're just going to leave the color of thread up there as you're doing your applique. You're not going to change it every time, but you do want the machine to stop and wait for you. So I'm going to go ahead and change it from the Floriani red to this red that's used in my ladybugs and my butterflies. So I'm going to right mouse click, and I've changed all of these. Oops. I'm going to right mouse click on this, and now I have changed all of these to the 186. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the green. I don't need this green, so I'm going to change that to the pink because I know that's not used. So there we go. So now we have got all those. Now if we hit our minus sign, watch what happens to these colors. Minus. Now I only have the colors that are used in the designs themselves. We've got everything down to just 5 colors. So if you're on a multi-needle, it's nice because you've got your 5 colors up there. And if you are on your flatbed, you still only have 5 colors. So here we go. Let's look at our slow redraw and see what's going to happen here. First thing it's going to do on this slow redraw is it's going to put down our placement. So then we're going to place our fabric. Then it's going to go ahead and do our tag down that we can barely see because it's in that light pink. Then it's going to start doing our finishes. So now we have finished our pieces and we're going to put our designs in them. And now you have your seed. Now you could use for fabric on this, you could use the oilcloth that now you can get in so many different designs that would wear well out in the garden. You can use fabric. You can have all kinds of fun with this. So I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. We've done a whole lot today, but I think all of it is stuff that we either needed to review on or we didn't realize we could do with Floriani software. So I look forward to seeing you in the construction portion of this video.